welcome to another edition of Simpleton Review featuring Nate Wade, Charlie Gibson, and Lemuel Edwards. I am Simpleton number 1. I'm your host, Nate Wade.
And I'm Charlie Gibson, and I'm Simpleton number 2.
I'm Lemuel Edwards, Simpleton number 3.
And we always want to make sure that remind Lemuel that that is his place in life. You are Simpleton number 3. Please do not forget it.
Who does number 3 work for?
I've already made my shirt. It's fine.
Have you really?
No.
We need to make some shirts. In fact, we need to create
I'll make some shirts.
We need to create like a threadless store and actually make Simpleton number 1, 2, and 3 t-shirts, and then have like a contest to see who sells the most t-shirts.
Okay. All right. I'm ready for this. I'll use my GIMP program.
Oh, you're gonna make a design?
Why not?
Sweet. Okay. All right. That's good. If you need some other help, I've got a great program that Adobe has that is pretty slick. I think it's called Spark or something like that. That's how I make all these podcast logos and stuff.
Would it run on a glorified tablet?
Oh yeah, it'll run on anything, but it's you just have to have a subscription to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I pay $10 a month.
Oh, it's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad at all. Anyways, we are, this is the movie review part of the podcast for the month of May. And we decided to watch a great movie that is slightly, I don't know, what would you say, controversial in a way? Would that be a good word to use?
That's a good word to use. I think that it hits on a lot of things that are uncomfortable for a lot of folks.
Uncomfortable is
Uncomfortable.
That's the word. Jojo Rabbit is the movie we're talking about, everyone. And that Jojo Rabbit is a movie directed by, how do you say his name, Lemuel?
His first name I can never pronounce correctly. It's like Takai or something like that, but his last name's Waititi.
Waititi. And some of the movies that he's directed in the past are... Charlie?
He's directed... Oh, Charlie's got it.
Actually, I hadn't watched any of his other movies that I know of. I
Okay.
just
You
chipped in
probably
with
have,
this
you
one.
just didn't know it. Lemuel, why don't you name some of them off?
So he's directed a movie called Boy, a movie called Hunt for the Wilder People, and then the one that like no one seems to know about, Thor Ragnarok. Just a small movie. No one
Tiny.
talks about it.
Yeah. Wasn't he involved in Endgame as well?
I think he definitely voiced in it. He plays the rock monster that Thor's with.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, and in the movie we're talking about, Jojo Rabbit, he did play a character. Which character did he play?
He played Hitler.
He did play Hitler. And I'm actually starting to be another slideshow here again. I love it. Love my computer. It's so awesome. So it's good. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, I'm back. Kind of. No, I'm not.
15 frames.
It's terrible. Anyway, so I don't know what's going on with my computer. I think I need to invest in a new one if I'm going to continue to do this junk, or at least try to get my other desktop going. I tried to get a webcam video the other day, and here we are in the midst of this coronavirus, whatever you want to call it. And so I go online to Best Buy and all these places to try to find a webcam, and there are none available. They are completely sold out, except for the people who are trying to rip me off, who are selling an $80 webcam camera for $300.
People have attached to some weird things, like video game consoles are gone, video games are gone, ketchup's gone. I don't understand.
Puzzles.
Puzzles.
Mayonnaise.
There was one odd one there, and everything we just mentioned. Video games are gone. Webcams are gone. Ketchup's gone. I just love this video that I'm recording here. It's great.
Just running a little slow.
I can't deal with it. It's just amazing to me. All right. Well, you know what? There's always something going on here, the Simpleton Review Podcast, and we call it a Simpleton. Look at that. The Simpleton Review Podcast for a reason, because it's very simple people who don't know what in the crap they're doing. All right. Jojo Rabbit, people. Charlie, why don't you give me a synopsis of the movie?
This is kind of like a boy's tale of growing up, being a Hitler youth, and kind of like how it was to perceptively like take on what was happening at near the end of the war at World War II.
Okay.
So, and a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, this movie is like totally comedy drama. Like they don't hold anything back. They throw it all out there like a Wes Anderson film, and want you to fill in like with your own commentary almost.
Right. Well, and Lemuel's brother Braden, he summed it up. It was like a roller coaster. When the movie opens up, of course, that's right when you see Hitler for the very first time, or his imaginary friend Hitler. He doesn't actually know Hitler, but Hitler shows up as his imaginary friend. And Braden was like, "What is going on?" And knowing Braden, those of you who know my son Braden, you know that he doesn't laugh at a lot of stuff. It really has to hit a certain thing in his tickle bone, which is really absurdist. Like, he loves Monty Python, he loves Douglas Adams, that kind of stuff. So it has to be very absurdist for him to actually laugh. And obviously, I mean, he kept on turning around to me like, "What are we watching? Am I supposed to laugh at this?" Like the whole scene where he decides he's going to run and join the people after they called him the rabbit. And
No.
and he jumps over the log with all the people and he throws the grenade
and blows himself up. So good.
I don't know what to think about that. I don't
Oh
know
my gosh, you look like a Picasso.
It was so humorous. I mean, it was just crazy. Like, what am I watching? I can't believe I'm laughing at this. This should not be funny.
I laughed.
But it is.
Didn't feel good for it.
It is. It is. It's so funny. And then you get to the point where, like, you know, we were talking about it is full of humor, but then it hits you with drama as well. And so there's this whole plot of his mom that you find out is kind of involved with you know, the movie's been out long enough by now. I'm not going to worry too much about spoiling the plots, but his mom is involved in the resistance. And so there's this point where he's putting up posters and he's walking across the square, the public square there, following this butterfly, and you pan up and you see, because there's this public place where they hang people who've done, you know, went against the state, and you pan up and you see his mother's shoes on this person's feet, which obviously you know, it's his mom that got hung. You're just like, what? I was not expecting that. Maybe I should have been. I mean, I knew that, you know, she was involved with resistance. I knew there was something going on underhanded, but I was not expecting it at that moment.
Yeah, they kind of foreshadowed it when they were on the bridge or like hanging out on the waterfront. Yeah. When she was dancing up on the wall and he was like, would approach her feet every once in a while.
There was like a few times where they showed her feet. So it was something that was consistent throughout that until that point, but it was just like, what? You know, and then you're like crying. It's like, what? You know, it was, and then that whole scene afterwards where he goes into his house and proceeds to stab the Jewish girl that his mother is hiding in the cubby hole in her dead daughter's bedroom. And I'm just like, what is going on? This movie is crazy nuts.
Yeah.
It took a shift for sure.
What did you get? What was your favorite scenes, as it were? I mean, what attracted you guys to it for the most part? Could you take your eyes off of it?
Oh, I couldn't.
I think my favorite scene was the opening with Sam Rockwell, where he's explaining what's going on at the camp, where he's talking about all the boy things that are going to happen, and then he introduces the woman. This is what the girls are going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you hear that, it's just like you're sucked in. I mean, that's just it.
Yeah, and then you go to that point where he blows himself up with a grenade because it bounces off the tree, and the guy goes, "And don't do that." I just was like so perfect and deadpan. You're like, oh my gosh, it's so funny.
I liked his relationship with his best friend too. He kept popping up at the most obscure times when
best friend
everything was
way
still unsettled. Yeah. It's like everything was still unsettled with him, and then all of a sudden his best friend would come by and like be the voice of reason.
Yeah, the voice of reason. Oh, you mean the kid's best friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid's best friend was
who had a remarkably, amazingly British accent for a German kid.
Yes.
Saying. That was funny. And they didn't even try to hide it, right?
Jojo, let's take on what's going just take a look at what's going on around you.
And that whole
Jojo,
that whole scene where the allies are coming into their town and he's in that area where they're all, you know, all between the buildings, and there's all the bags up, you know, and people in suits are running out fighting these Germans, and then his you know, the captain guy or whatever, what was it? Yeah, the
Sam Rockwell's character.
And his probably
his partner
lover,
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go running out in their pink uniforms. Doo-doo-doo. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so absurdist. It was crazy. And you're like, am I supposed to laugh at this? I just don't know. And the lady who was telling the girls at the beginning of the movie, she's giving kids grenades
Yeah.
to go walk up to the Allies and blow them up, and she does it so deadpan. I mean, I've seen her in other movies, and she is really funny. But oh my goodness, it was just a crazy movie. Yeah. I can't. I just sit here and think about it. I just like, oh my goodness, what a weird movie. But let's talk a little bit about the cinematography and stuff like that happened in it. Like we were talking about, it was directed by this Takiti or Tataki or Takai or what was his name again? I never remember.
Taika Waititi.
Okay, what you said, right? And but it really felt like there was a lot of scenes in the movie that really felt like a Wes Anderson type movie. Like we're talking about, it was framed. Wide framed pictures, right? Like the scene where his mom and him are riding their bikes across the, and so they're down on the meadow. You see green, just bright colors everywhere. In the village, there was bright pastel type colors. Everything was happy and pretty, and even the Nazi flags had almost pastel like colors to them, just to make everything pretty and happy, until things started to take this dive towards the end of the movie, and everything just turns gray and gross. But it was just weird how there was this very like Wes Anderson type of photography in that movie.
Yeah, I noticed that, especially when they do the actions. The actions look like they were like really in a fluid motion, but they were almost in like an illustrated pose. Yeah. Every time they did something.
Yeah,
so
right.
It was like definitely preordained kind of situations.
Right, exactly. You know what, guys? I forgot to do something, so we're gonna do this before the video is almost over. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Let's scroll up. We're going to scroll up here, and we're going to do this. Oh, yeah. There we go. Okay. There. Now I've got the so this girl right here, she's the crazy nuts one there. I don't know what else to say. She was weird in the whole scheme of things. And I'm changing the views here because I'm bored. All right, so we'll go with that one. I don't know.
It's just an appropriate picture of Sam Rockwell, though.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's nuts. Anyway, so I don't know what else. Is there anything else you guys want to add to our review here of JoJo Rabbit?
I love this movie. I think it's probably a stellar one to watch. It's never going to receive like critical acclaim, probably other than like the cinematography or the costumes, but definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, I'd agree. Lemuel, what do you got to add?
Yeah, I definitely want to say he took like what would be considered a difficult subject, and even though you were uncomfortable, it still felt like there were definitely wholesome moments and stuff.
Yeah.
And like one of the biggest tone shifts I think is like when they're having that battle, and it's kind of funny, but you're also not sure if you should be laughing. Yeah. And then it instantly switches to the captain helping JoJo.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's good. I mean, obviously this captain, I mean, you realize he's actually got a heart. And that's probably why he kept on messing up and finding himself in these lower and lower and lower positions through the course of the war. But I don't know. It's an interesting movie, and that end scene where the kid finally kicks his imaginary friend out the window just was absolutely fantastic. F you, Adolf Hitler! Boosh! It's just so good. All right, so let's give our 5-star rating on this movie. What would you guys say, Charlie? Let's start with you. What is your rating on JoJo Rabbit?
Honestly, I picked this one because I knew I was going to give it a 5, and so I'm sticking with that. Just because all around it's good to watch, and it held my attention the whole time. Yeah, not a lag. So
okay, Charlie is as we've discussed before, he does not give out 5-star reviews very often. So if he's giving out a 5-star review, you can be guaranteed that it's good, or at least Charlie likes it, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, Mikey, he likes it.
That's right. All right, Lem, what do you think?
I would have to say a 5 also.
A 5. Okay. All right. Well, here is the moment of truth. What is Simpleton number 1 going to give JoJo Rabbit? Will it have a 5-star review all around? The answer is unequivocally Yes. The answer is yes. 5 stars for sure. This movie was amazing. It is, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. My mouth was open half the time. I felt my mouth, like my tongue would get dry. I'm like, oh my gosh, my mouth is open. Because I'm just like, what am I watching? And I've seen very few films that have done that to me. And I've seen hundreds, if not thousands of movies over the course of my life. I was a film major in college at one point, saw some really weird movies in my film classes. This movie is on the top. But as Lemuel said, it has a heart. There's something about it that just has a heart. It deals with weird subject matter. It deals with people that you don't know if you should root for or not. Not everybody comes off smelling like peaches and cream, but it is a movie that deals with growing up. It deals with learning about maturity. It deals with, what is hate, what is, accepting things blindly. There's so many different themes that you can talk about in this movie, and it is well worth your time. It was nominated for all kinds of awards at the Academy Awards and the Golden Globes and all the other festivals and things that it floated around with last year. And I would definitely say go out and watch it. If you haven't watched it, it's worth your time to watch. It raises a lot of themes, and it will leave you laughing, crying, and going, what the hell? That's all I got to say. What do you guys got anything else to add to that?
No, this has been a great one to review, and next month we're going to do some reviews and have a great time with the next round.
Sweet. Lemuel, anything else?
I would like to say go check out any of his other movies because they all have about the same amount of heart. He's really good at dealing with tough subjects. So,
sounds great. Well, as always, I am Nate Wade. I am Simpleton #1.
And I am Charlie Gibson, and I'm Simpleton #2.
I'm Lemuel Edwards, Simpleton #3.
And we are the Simple Guys doing the Simpleton Review Podcast. And until next month, wishing you a great day. And I don't have a good ending tagline, so bye.
Enjoy the rest of the quarantine.
Yeah. See y'all later.